Chad Kelly's a passer, not a fighter. Well, actually, last week he kind of was a fighter. He had the week off, a bye week for Ole Miss, and Chad Kelly got into a bit of a scuffle at his brother's high school football game in Buffalo. But this weekend, Chad Kelly's once again going to be a passer, and for Ole Miss to have a shot in Fayetteville against Arkansas, he's going to have to be what he typically is, one of the best passers in college football. When most people think of guys that carry football teams on their backs, the offense, we think Deshaun Watson, Lamar Jackson, and rightfully so. But Chad Kelly, right there with them. He shoulders the load for the Ole Miss offense. He's a runner. He's a passer, not a dynamic runner to the level of Watson and Jackson, but he leads the rushing attack for Ole Miss to a certain extent, and he's a dynamic passer. He almost pulled out the game against Alabama and Florida State. He has a remarkable arm, and he is a gunslinger. He has the best tight end in college football in Evan Ingram, 30 receptions and 4 touchdowns. Damore'ea Stringfellow leads a very talented and athletic wide receiver core, and Ole Miss is going to air it out against Arkansas because that's what they do. The running game has been hampered since the loss of Jordan Wilkins before week 1, and Eric Swinney, who carried the ball all of one time, the much-heralded junior college transfer, 1 carry, 6 yards, and then out. So it's been Akeem Judd, who's not a workhorse kind of back. So think Wayne Gallman, Brandon Radcliffe. They carry the load of the rushing attack for Clemson and Louisville, and the aforementioned support of Deshaun Watson and Lamar Jackson. Chad Kelly doesn't have that. It's Akeem Judd, basically, in supporting the running game. For Arkansas, we think run first, but run first for Brett Bielema? Not in the last 2 SEC games. 42 attempts for Austin Allen against Texas A&M. 48 against the Alabama Crimson Tide. Sure, the Hogs had to come back and they had to put it up in the fourth quarter, but they were in the game, a 3-point game into the fourth quarter against Texas A&M. Now, sure, against Alabama, they got down by 3 touchdowns early and had to throw it and throw it and throw it. Austin Allen showed me something against TCU. It was a 13-0 game. It was the type game that Brett Bielema and Arkansas loves. Grind it out, just throw the play action on third down. The defense was dominating, again, 13-0. It suddenly turned into a shootout, and Austin Allen had to flip the switch, and that he did in leading an overtime win on the road. Led 2 long drives in the clutch when he had to and got the job done. He showed a lot against Texas A&M, taking a beating in that game, and got off the deck and almost pulled out a victory against Texas A&M. But the Hogs were actually beat physically up front in that game along the offensive front in short yardage situations, and that was the undoing against Alabama. Of course, the Crimson Tide much superior athletically, top to bottom in regards to the roster. Austin Allen did throw 3 interceptions, 2 of them basically not his fault. He had to chuck it up late in the game to have any chance in a 19-point loss. Ole Miss, I have considered the Rebels to have one of the best defensive units in college football over the past 2 years, not this unit. They are right now 102nd defensively in the nation, 105 against the run and 75th against the pass. Now you have to consider who they've played. A very talented Memphis squad that can score points. Of course, Alabama, Florida State, even Georgia. The Rebels dominated but played a Georgia team that's pretty talented on offense with Nick Chubb and Jacob Eason. But this is not the defense that we've seen over the last few years. Definitely, Kendarius Webster is missed. He was the leader of the secondary and made a ton of plays, and he was out against Florida State, and they've missed him. Marquise Haynes is having a big season with 5 sacks and 3 tackles for loss, but Ole Miss getting shredded at times through the air and on the ground by quality opponents. And this is certainly one in Arkansas with Raleigh Williams doing the work on the ground and Austin Allen through the air. This one will be maybe not the thriller it was last year at 53-52 when Hunter Henry lobbed up the 4th and 25 over his head to pull out the game in overtime. Now doing work for the San Diego Chargers in a big way. Just saw him play tonight. Ole Miss goes to Fayetteville. They pull it out 37-34, despite the deficiencies we just pointed out. These are two quality football teams, certainly worthy of their rankings. Okay, we talk up college football here on Mark Rogers TV, so we need to hear from you as well. Ole Miss, Arkansas this Saturday, right here on Mark Rogers TV.